All right, guys, in this video, we're gonna see how healthy the Junkyard 5.3 is. And we're gonna do a leak down test to see if the intake valves, exhaust valves, and the piston rings hold pressure inside the cylinder. Now, normally I would do a compression test, but the flex plate is missing, and that's what the starter spins over to roll the motor over. Also, there's no oil in the pan, so I don't feel like getting 2-3 quarts of oil to dump it in to make sure, you know, everything stays lubricated during cranking. So since I don't have that, I'm going straight to leak down. Now, like I said, normally you do a compression test, and if the compression test numbers are okay or in spec, then no need to do a leak down. If the compression test is low on a certain cylinder, that tells you you just have a low number and that's it, and you have to do a leak down test anyway to pinpoint the problem. Okay, so we'll just jump right into a leak down test and see where we're at. Okay, so we're going to remove the coil packs. It's 10 mil bolts here. Next up, the valve covers, 8 mil. Man, 140K, and it looks freaking clean in here. Nice. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is take a 24 mil, put it on the crank bolt, and roll this guy over. And I'm gonna wait till the rockers are all the way up, meaning the valves are closed, and it's coming up on the compression stroke. Okay, so right now, we have the exhaust going down. Next will be the intake. Okay, so you can see it coming up. So now we should be coming up on the compression stroke. And I'm not concerned about the piston coming all the way up to TDC. As long as the valves are closed, we're gonna do a leak down now, okay? So that's good enough. Okay, now time to shoot some air in here and see what the leakage is. So what I have here, this is the hose from my compression tester. And what I've done is I've removed the Schrader valve. Basically, just like the valve on your tire. So there's a valve core in here. You just remove it so air can go right in. Okay? I always like to put a little WD-40 on the O-ring here so it just doesn't get all tore up. Go ahead and thread this guy in. Okay, make sure that's nice and tight. Okay, so here's my homemade leak down tester. And what I have here is a regulator. And in here, this brass nipple, what I did is I packed it with epoxy and drilled an 60 I think it was 40 or 60 thousandths hole. I'm not sure, I forgot, this was years ago. I'll put the link in the upper right on how to build this, and it has the information in that description or in that blog post. And then I have a low pressure gauge. This one goes up to 30. I got it from the plumbing department. Now, we're gonna use a formula. You can use any pressure you want to pump in here, 20, 30, 50, 100 PSI, and then obviously it's gonna drop some after we hook up the air source, and you just run a calculation, okay? The reason I did a low pressure is because on single cylinder motorcycles, sometimes the engine would roll over, okay? I don't think that's gonna be the case with this big V8, but in any case, you don't need to put 100 PSI in there. You just have to put some pressure in there and then just calculate the leakage percentage afterwards. Okay, so this guy's gonna hook up in here. Actually, let me hook it up to the air first. Okay, and you can see you can regulate it. So I'll just hit it 20 PSI, and then we will hook this up and see. Okay, so there's some leakage, right? So it's right at 16. Okay, so 20 minus 16 is 4, right? 4 divided by 20 is 20 times 100. So that's 20% leakage. That's not good. Okay, so let's do that again. Right about 15 to 16 pounds. Okay, and I don't feel any air coming out of the exhaust. And if I put my hand in the intake, okay, let's roll it over and go to the next one. Okay, we went 20 and same thing, 16. Okay, so a good thing is we're seeing consistent results so far. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to write 20%. All right, we got the rockers all the way up. All right, let's see with this one. All right, we're down to 4 psi, so that's not good. Where is the air going? Okay, I'm going to crank it up to 30, just so I can hear where the air is going. All right, so I have a little soapy water here. Check this out. You can see those bubbles? All right, so we got a little bit of an exhaust leak here. Now, that could be due to carbon, so here's what I like to do. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap lightly on the exhaust valve and see if that's just carbon. So if I tap it and this number goes up, then I know it's just a carbon issue. Okay, so it's jumping up a little bit. Okay, so after hitting it a few times, we're up to about 5 pounds. So that's a lot of leakage. So that's 70% leakage. The valve doesn't look bent if I shine a light in there. It may just be carbon. I don't know, but we're just going to write that down and move on. All right, let's do the last one on this side. I have to rotate the motor, but let's go ahead and reposition this. All right, here we are, number 8 cylinder. Let's shoot 20 psi in here. All right, we're getting 14 pounds. Okay, valves, exhaust valves leaking a little bit. All right, we're still at 14, so that's 30% leakage. Okay, so I'm over here on the driver's side, and I did the same thing. I removed the valve cover and just went through these cylinders and did a leak down test. It's pretty much the same procedure as the other side. So let me share my results. 25%, 35%, 75% leakage, and 25%. I sprayed soapy water in each of the exhaust ports, and the exhaust valves all bubble up. So there is air leaking past the exhaust valves. I'm willing to bet it's just carbon buildup. A quick lap job would probably seal that right up, but I just want to let you know what I'm dealing with. Okay, so let's go ahead and pressurize the last one. I'll show you the air bubbles that are coming out of here. All right, so right here I will, so you can see that right there. All right, let's see if I can get some bubbles coming out of here. There you go, you hear that gurgling in there, all these bubbles. So yeah, definitely leaking pretty good there. Okay, so the leak down test results are anywhere from 20 to 70%. There is 1, 2, 3, 4 cylinders at 20, 25, and the rest are way over. And it seems like it's all the exhaust valves. Now, I know a lot of people take these as is, throw it in, and run them, okay? The right thing to do would be to pull the heads, lap the valve, see if it needs a valve job, and then obviously if you have the heads off, you might as well yank the pistons out and replace the rings and gap them for boost applications. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with that, what they do for boosted applications is they take the ring gap, so you see the gap between my fingers, they take that gap from a stock naturally aspirated engine and they open up the gap. And the reason for that is with the turbo you're going to have more pressure and heat inside the cylinder, and it's going to make the rings come together, and if the ends butt of the ring, then they weld themselves together and it freaking destroys the engine, okay? So that's not a good thing. So if you're going to lean really hard on an engine, that ring end gap needs to be opened up anyway. So let me know what you think I should do. Obviously I have some options, and I like to hear from you guys on what I should do. All right?